Hi, my name is Hendrik, a qualitative researcher from Singapore. Today, I will be presenting our findings on AI facial emotions analysis and the comparative evaluation we conducted using focus group discussions. For my presentation, I'll be taking you through our findings and what we have learned through this process. Firstly, let me do a quick introduction. I am from RISES, a Singaporean market research firm that focuses on social issues. We primarily conduct public sentiment sensing on comms and pride ourselves to our commitment to data quality. As sentiment analysis makes up a large portion of our work, we currently face three major challenges. Number one, scalability. It takes exponentially more time and money for bigger samples. Number two, capturing nuanced emotions is challenging, especially in a group setting with respondents who are not as articulate. Lastly, is data quality. Expressed emotions can be subjective or ambiguous. So we wanted to know, can AI facial emotion analysis address the current challenges faced in collecting sentiments in qualitative research? With this question in mind, we know that in the space of qualitative sentiment testing, it is difficult to balance both subjectivity and objectivity. How do we balance emotional nuanced responses with numerical and quantifiable data, while balancing scale and depth as well? Lastly, how do we quantify emotions to audiovisual stimuli that does not elicit strong emotional reactions? So, what is facial emotion analysis? Facial emotion analysis is a methodology which utilizes a laptop webcam to record expressions while respondents watch test videos. Recordings are then processed to interpret and quantify emotional reactions. FEA is a combination of facial movements to discern emotions. For example, emotions are registered based on combination of facial movements. For example, cheek raise plus lip pull equal joy. These valences are tracked on a scale of 0 to 100. Emotions tracked include anger, disgust, joy, surprise, etc. Can facial emotion analysis address the gaps in sentiment testing? We compared the findings from FEA and the sentiments from FGDs from the same body of materials tested. We decided on 6 videos to test, broadly based on whether the content was meant to be informative, meant to elicit behavior change, or appeal emotionally. We then conducted focus groups to gather sentiments based on the videos tested. These two data sources from both methodologies were compared for depth and accuracy. We set up the videos on the FEA platform for respondents to view. Respondents were brought into our office to view these videos on laptops set up with the FEA platform. A calibration process was conducted to ensure proper tracking, and respondents were recorded and their videos uploaded to the platform. We then brought them into focus groups to gain further insight. And the data was used to validate FEA data and determine its use cases and efficacy. With our comparative analysis conducted, we uncovered that FEA picks up on more nuanced emotions that are less tangible during FGDs such as surprise, confusion, and actions such as brow furrows. Attention and engagement is a useful metric. Findings may be less accurate given that the pilot was done in person, which required respondents to stay attentive. This metric may be more useful if done at home or remotely. It contextualizes triggers for change in emotion by identifying specific points of time that elicits emotions, for example, spikes of joy at certain points. Comparative data, for example, high joy levels for one video over another can be highlighted. This demonstrates changes in emotion to content. While emotions highlighted generally correlate with expected points, it may be less clear in some instances why respondents react the way they do. For example, brow furrows do not tell us much why they feel that way, as seen in yellow highlights in our later slide. On its own, FEA appears to validate dominant, stronger emotions reported in FGDs. FEA also validates intense emotions. However, informational and videos with less emotion may be eliciting subtle micro-expressions that are harder to substantiate. The video we tested here was a PSA delivered by a Singaporean politician on health and diabetes. In the top left box, we can see the FEA analysis without the context of FGDs. The green and yellow highlights were only included after we completed the FGD analysis. What was highlighted in green was substantiated by FGD feedback. However, anything highlighted in yellow was not. As you can see, the FEA-only analysis showcases some of the limitations without more insight. Without more context, certain insights may be inaccurate or harder to substantiate. However, after contrasting with the FGD data, some stronger sentiments were substantiated. Firstly, respondents were engaged. The peaks and dips in the engagement valence generally correlated with FGD feedback on the positive and negative moments of the video. Secondly, confusion and surprise that was detected in the FEA was also explained in the groups by the mention of the scary figure of diabetes statistics in Singapore. However, joy spikes in the FEA did not produce any substantiated feedback from the focus groups. Does AI facial emotion analysis help us with collecting sentiments in qualitative research? Yes and no. It does allow for collection of unbiased spontaneous insights of microexpressions. It also allows for comparisons of different stimuli by quantifying different emotions and enables data collection on a much larger scale. However, it needs to be supplemented by qualitative feedback to clarify certain unclear findings. Microexpressions can also be misleading and will need to be followed up. Another thing to consider. Generally, agents are not as expressive and less emotional material may elicit emotions that are harder to substantiate. Therefore, we recommend that on its own, FEA is better used as a quantitative tool to scope a large audience on the scale and timing of emotional resonance, which allows for a scalable and quick sentiment analysis on video content. However, when combined with qualitative discussions, despite providing some utility in picking up nuanced and spontaneous emotions, it does not provide as much depth or provide the additional context of qualitative discussions. By strategically deploying either methods, we can utilize data from both FEA and focus groups. This helps enrich and maximize the data and provide us with deeper and more impactful research outcomes.